And welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back to a new video, and today I'm going to play a video for you that perfectly depicts and is a great example of what I've been saying for years on my channel, is how we as consumers are completely ill-equipped to go up against an experienced car salesman at a car dealership that costs millions of dollars a year to run, with a sales manager, finance manager, and an entire staff with the entire purpose, the entire system designed to screw us out of more money, to make sure that we pay as much as possible on the car they're selling. And they put big smiles on their faces, they act nice, they dress nice, they offer us coffee and donuts and Lord knows whatever else. But it doesn't matter. In the end, the back end objective is to screw you as badly as they can, and they celebrate that every single time they're successful in doing it after you leave the dealership. If you leave and you got screwed, I promise you afterwards they are high-fiving and laughing in the conference room or in the showroom or in the back room about how well they were able to take you down. There are now channels all over TikTok with car salesmen who are out there bragging and sharing their dialogues, their role plays of how they're rolling customers so hard out of dealerships, using their skills, their tactics, their training as a badge of honor that they flex in front of all their other fellow car salespeople. This is why the system is broken, where I would like to go into a dealership and know that their goal is to do me right. But knowing that their goal is exactly the opposite is frustrating. And if you only buy a car once every 3 or 4 or 5 years, then how much experience do you have in negotiating against these guys? Are you practicing? Are you role-playing? Are you spending hours and hours a day for a month before you go into the dealership to counter their objection handlers? No, you're not. You're going in completely ill-equipped. In today's video, I'm going to share with you a video where this guy is proud of how he's able to get a customer, or he's so proud that he's able to get customers to agree to let them run their credit so that they can shop them and make money on the financing. And I'm going to share with you why this should never, ever happen to you. But let's jump in the car so we can get a little quiet privacy here. All right, remember, folks, when you get to a car dealership, they're sizing you up the second you pull into the lot. They're immediately formulating some opinions and formulating questions that they're going to ask you based on your simple appearance, the car you drove in, the year of that car, how you're dressed, how serious you look when you're walking out to look at a car. Are you just strolling around randomly? They're looking at your body language, and when they when they approach you, they're immediately going to start asking you questions. And those questions are going to determine, in their mind, how serious you are and how hard they should be pushing. And here's why. In their mind, they're already thinking about the paycheck. They're trying to think, are you a paycheck for them? And that's fair enough. I understand, that's their job. But while they're thinking in that mindset, you're thinking, I just want to look at a car, I want to get a new car, or I'm shopping for a deal, and I don't know, if I'm ready to make the move right now. All that stuff doesn't matter. In their mind, they want to figure out, is there a way to convert you into a buyer today? Most buyers will show up to the dealerships completely ill-prepared and oftentimes not plan to buy a car that day. These dealerships are designed to take impulse buyers from the I'm looking to I'm buying path as quickly as possible, meaning you're not showing up prepared. And that's where you screw up right out of the gate, why you hand over so much power to the salesperson. And this example and this role play from this TikToker is a perfect example of somebody who showed up, assuming this was a real interaction, a buyer who showed up to a dealership completely ill-prepared and set themselves up to get ragdolled by this salesperson. And this salesperson thinks he is so slick using this dialogue. But remember, they're trained on it. They practice on it. They're even putting it out online now, saying this is what we do, knowing that it's still going to work when somebody shows up at the dealership not prepared for the battle. Let's go ahead and play that video real quick.
So that interest rate's just too high, man. I understand that the interest rate's important to you. It would be important to me as well. I gotta ask, when you say the interest rate's too high, could you be more specific as to why you think it's too high?
I've seen some things online, I've done some research, and I've seen lower rates.
Sure. And I get where you're coming from. Rates that I showed you, those are just standardized rates. I show everyone those exact same rates because I can't look at you and say you look like you'd get a better rate. So to be compliant, I show everyone the standardized rates. With that said, let's submit a credit app. We'll get a rate locked in. We'll have the banks compete against each other to find you a competitive rate. Sound fair enough?
Sounds good to me, man.
Awesome.
All right, so this is something I've been noticing out there with the car dealers, car salespeople lately is they will, rather than they'll ask you a lot of qualifying questions about your credit, scale from 1 to 10, blah, blah, blah. They'll do all that stuff. But they'll jump right in, and while they're not using the Foursquare, they'll just start sharing payments. They found that the quicker they go in to ask you to get pre-approved or to ask you to run a credit application, the more resistant you get. So they need to take time to work their way down that direction. So rather, they'll come at you with a higher interest rate, quoting a higher interest rate, so that you can counter that and say, like in the video, I think that's too high. And then they could say, well, of course, I'm just quoting you a standard rate. Let me run your credit and let's see if we could do better. Well, remember, if they're quoting you a 10% rate and they come back and tell you, okay, now that you've let me run your credit, I can get you 8%, they're hoping you're going to be jumping up and down, when in reality, you probably qualify for 5%. And if that's the case, you won't know. You're thinking you got a deal at 7. So how do you avoid this? You never walk in unprepared. You always get pre-approved through your bank or your credit union before you go in there, so you have the baseline. And imagine that same dialogue that sales guy is trying if he tried it in reverse. Now you walk into the dealership and you start looking at cars, and while he's giving you quotes and talking about the payments and talking about their interest rates, you come out and say, oh, by the way, I'm already pre-approved. Here's a copy of it for 4.79% through Navy Federal Credit Union. And by the way, that's at, 48 months or whatever it is, and my payment's going to be X. I just need to find a car at this price. How much can you sell me that car for? And that's what it comes down to. You just countered. He came in wanting to quote interest rates and then walk you down a path to run your credit, and you simply say, I'm already pre-approved for 4.79% and for this amount. I just need to know how much you want for the car. Now, they're going to push back and say, well, I don't think we can do that. Some of them will do this. I don't think we can do that price if you don't finance through us. If you finance through us, we can give you some accessories, some perks, maybe a better deal on the car. Here's what I've always said. I'm at 4.79. If you can beat or even match 4.79, I'm good. I'm with you. Okay? How about that? If you can get me that 0% financing through Chrysler or through Stellantis, boogie down. I'm with you. But if you run my credit and you come out and tell me it's anything more than 4.79, if you come out and say I can get you 4.8, I'm not going through you. So here's my score. My score is 742. And if you don't think you can get me below that, don't run me, because I'm going to resent you for it and I'm likely going to walk out. Now, with that said, I also like to ask them to please don't shotgun my credit. Don't send me to 25 banks and start nailing me. Now, I have credit alerts through, I think it's LifeLock and Experian. I will get notified literally as they're running the credit. Like, they hit submit, boom, my phone lights up like a Christmas tree. So I make sure that I tell them I had one dealership I had that conversation with. They said they weren't going to shotgun me, and then I went on the test drive in the car, and they shotgunned me. And my phone started going off like crazy because it started getting ran by a bunch of different banks. You need to say to them, I'm going to go ahead and fill out this credit app, and I'm going to write in here that dealer understands they are only allowed to run this credit one time. They can send a copy of that report to the other banks if they want. I don't care. They can make phone calls to their reps with these other banks and get scenarios. But until I know that I can get a certain rate through a certain bank, I'm not going to let you run it more than one time to try to match my interest rate. And if you can't do that, let's just whittle this down to How much are you willing to sell the car for? Because I can only pay this much. And that will fall into my payment, and we can be out of here in a half an hour. So with that, folks, beware of these slick salespeople. They are practicing daily. They are doing role plays. They are in sales meetings. They are spending tons of time waiting for just the regular average customer that's going to walk into a dealership that hasn't bought a car in 5 years or 10 years or longer, and walk them down a path to where they're going to lose in, again, up against a experienced salesperson in a multi-million-dollar dealership designed to screw them. So with that, everybody, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.